Hello, people of the world watching vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road. Today, I'm going to finally get the new Taco up in the air. We're going to nerd out in the tech specs, see what its ingredients are, and if Toyota nailed the recipe on this new flavor of taco. Don't eat your truck. Well, that's convenient. The taillights turned off exactly when I got in the air. That's a huge tip. 93 millimeter. That's actually a sweet design. The fully boxed frame rail just boxes right into the Reese hitch. This taco is capable of towing 6,500 pounds with a tongue weight of 640 pounds. I've never seen a truck donut before. That's weird. It's a truck donut. Convenience spare. I don't know how convenient that'll be if you get a flat off-road. Out back, this is one of the biggest changes to the new N400 generation of Tacoma. The lower trim grades will get a leaf spring setup. However, the upper trim grades get this 4-link multi-link rear end with a panhard bar and solid rear axle. In the center of that rear diff, you get an electronic locker with a 3.583 final drive ratio, and in the manual transmission models, you get a 4.3 final drive. Because TRD off-road, you get these red body remote reservoir Bielestein dampers, all steel tubular links for the 4-link. You get your coil spring and grandma's disgusting pound cake recipe that no one wants to eat. Rear anti-sway bar mounted in front of the axle, measures in at 23 millimeter in diameter. The all-new Tacoma is built on Toyota's TNGA GAF platform, shared with the new 4Runner as well as the 250 series Land Cruiser. Now this one is fairly loaded up with the TRD off-road premium package, weighing in at 4,720 pounds. That's really thick plastic. I thought that was steel. Fully boxed steel frame, baby transfer case skid plate, crossmember easily removable for maintenance. And that exhaust mid-pipe measures in at approximately 65 millimeter in diameter, a little more than 2.5 inch SAE. As far as the transmissions go for the new Taco, thankfully they made the 6-speed manual available again on the SR, TRD Off-Road, and TRD Sport versions of this truck. This one has the Aijin AL80F 8-speed traditional planetary gear set automatic transmission. Unfortunately, I could not find the maximum torque input rating for this new AL80F. There's also an AL80E version for 2-wheel drive models. It's just too new of a transmission and I can't read Japanese. Hanging off the backside is the 2-speed shift-on-the-fly transfer case for the 4-wheel drive system. It has a 1:1 ratio in high and a 2.57:1 in low. No way! There's someone's initials on the bell housing of the transmission. If anyone knows anyone that works at the plant that makes these transmissions, tell them I found their signature. Up front, you get an all-steel in construction double wishbone suspension with aluminum knuckles, the fully boxed steel wishbone. Again, paired with those Bielestein red body remote reservoir monotube dampers. Also new for the TRD off-road, you can now get it with a front anti-sway bar disconnect feature, which this one has. Well, the downpipe doesn't look like it'd be too hard to actually get to. Front anti-sway bar measures in at beef 33 millimeter in diameter. You can see the oil cooler block and the filter located right here front and center. Toyota, come on. Plastic skid plates on a TRD off-road? I mean, I guess there's an argument that plastic slides over rocks better, but this is like super thin and brittle feeling plastic. All right, time for the braking test. No one behind me. Ready, go. Oh, geez. Wow. Aggressive ABS. Quite a bit of nosedive. That was short stopping distance for a pickup truck. Good brakes on this truck. Absolute solid good brakes on this thing. That braking was just made possible thanks to a 4-piston caliper similar to the last generation with a 340 millimeter or 13.4 inch front rotor. The wheels in the TRD off-road, there are these TRD 17 by 7.5 alloys wrapped in a set of two 65/70 17-inch BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA tires. On camera, this looks like it's satin black with a satin silver lip, but outdoor in the sun, it almost has a slight bluish hue to it. It's kind of crazy. Somebody is inevitably gonna jack this truck up by this plastic cap and break it. It's like a fuel-efficient version of the all-terrain TA. It's got a nice thick texture coating in the paint down here for rock chips. Lots of little removable plugs in case you want to rinse in here to get the salt out. PPF film on the leading edge of the rear fender. What is that, wool? Composite material? Plastic? Out back, for the first time ever, the Tacoma no longer has a drum brake. It is a 335 millimeter 13.2 inch rotor with a single piston floating caliper, and the wheel and tire, same size you get up front. In the name of science, I am now going to give it the beans. But first, I must conduct the assessment of bolstering. Go. It's got a little bit of bolstering to it. I got a really slippery shirt on, so. Not only is the steering wheel heated, but the seats are heated as well as the seats are ventilated in a Tacoma. This one has a premium package on top of the TRD off-road package, so it's as loaded as it gets for a TRD off-road. In the center, I have a dial that says drive mode, tow haul, MTS, and DAC crawl. But for drive modes, you rotate. I can go from eco to normal to sport, changes the full digital gauge cluster as well. And because this is the 8-speed auto, I can also slap this thing over into sport mode where you can shift it sequentially. There are no paddles on the back of the steering wheel, however. I'm gonna let the robots do all the thinking because they're pretty smart. And let's see what this thing can do. Give it a little assistance, let it eat. Ready? All right, go. Oh, it started to spin the tire a little bit. A little bit of a delay there with the shift. This engine does sound good. I don't think there's any fake sounds either. That's good. Got a little bit of spice to it. It feels a little bit quicker than the 3.5 liter V6. Hood pop. That's not too heavy. That's not bad. Yeah, what? I have 2 spots where I can put the prop rod. That's weird. I don't know. I'll put it on this one. That one sounds more fun. Underneath the hood of the all-new Tacoma is the iForce T24 Alpha FTS, which is a all aluminum dual overhead cam turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that produces 278 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 317 pound-feet of torque at 1,700 RPM. Now there is different varying power levels of this engine for this truck, as well as a hybrid version, but I'm not reviewing any of those right now. I'm reviewing this, so we're gonna talk about this one. Replacing the alternator looks like it'd be fairly easy. It's right up top here. ECU behind the driver headlight. It's a neat looking little snorkel that goes into the airbox. The engine sits from here back, and if you're to follow that line directly down, it's actually almost front midship, which is great for weight distribution. Despite there being hoses and cables everywhere blocking your view, there's actually a ton of room for maintenance between the engine and the side of the frame rail. Digging in a little bit deeper on this T24 Alpha, it is a open deck aluminum block with fused cast iron liners, has an 87.5 by 99.5 millimeter bore stroke with 11:1 compression ratio. Moving up into the heads where it does have Toyota's VVTi on both intake and exhaust cams, which are driven by a timing chain. And also, this is direct and port fuel injection, Toyota's D4S system. Has a single twin scroll turbocharger that is bolted directly to the side of the cylinder head, utilizes a traditional wastegate actuator as well. Lots of room over here for maintenance. And just like its competitor, the Ford Ranger with the EcoBoost, it's not the prettiest looking 4-cylinder in the world. There's lots of barnacles hanging all over it and gadgets, plastic valve cover. It's a really wide head though. If you were to follow the charge pipe right here off the turbo, it goes to a water to air charge cooler. Time for the hill climb test. As far as off-road modes go, I have the multi-terrain select feature right here, which to select that, I must put it into 4-wheel drive. The 4-wheel drive selector is this weird little plastic slice under the multi-terrain select and drive mode knob that you have to squeeze and then you can rotate. And it feels really easy to brake. Like if you were to just not knowingly turn that because you didn't know about these and force it, I can press the MTS button and I can go from auto to dirt to sand to mud, deep snow. And I will lock the rear diff. Oh, you gotta have 4 low to lock the diff. Really? Now right here, I have the front anti-sway bar disconnect. It says stabby bar. Definitely gonna use that. Love that it has this feature now. See if the sway bar disconnect makes a big difference. Oh yeah, already noticed the sway bar disconnect. That's nice. Oh, that is so nice. No problem whatsoever. Man, that sway bar disconnect, massive game changer. And also the multi-link rear end, I definitely noticed that as well, made a difference. I'm gonna go back down the same hill. I'm gonna select the downhill assist control or crawl. You can see it blinking on the screen there. And then it brings up a little menu on the gauge cluster. Oh, I rotate the dial to set the speed from 2 to 18 miles per hour. I usually don't like downhill assist control because I have a foot that can do it for me, but I'm gonna use it and let it do its thing. I got it on the slowest speed. 2 miles per hour. It seems kind of fast for this. Oh, there's the robots. In the ravine. Man, this thing's got all kinds of good robots on it. As far as the gravel pit test goes, I'm gonna hit my multi-terrain select. There's not one for gravel, but deep snow seems like not gravel. I'm gonna try it just because I want to use it. I'm not gonna lock the diff. I don't think it needs it. And then to make things tough, I'm gonna mash on the brakes in the middle, and then I'm gonna floor it, because that's what you're not supposed to do. And stop again, and floor it. Are the robots able to get me out of bad driving? Slam on the brakes, and then ease out of it. Yep. So the robots are bad driver proof. A Tacoma with an electronic tailgate. Magic. Does it go up too? Shut up. That is ridiculous. This is interesting. What do you do? Oh, open. Oh, storage. Well, it's got all kinds of storage space underneath here. Too bad there wasn't a drain though. You could fill it and have a cooler in your vehicle. Heh, just like the wheels, the floor mat looks bluish too. The back seat of the new Tacoma feels like a back seat of a Tacoma. I'm glad they didn't blow this out of proportion and turn it to a full-size truck. Dual USB-Cs, 400-watt AC power inverter. It's comfortable, I got command style seating. I can see up above people. It's a little tight, but I'm a Sasquatch. The fact that we have to have capped bottles only printed on our cup holders means we are not evolving as a civilization. I'm sorry for the engineer that was forced to do that. Well, the door card says TRD because this is a TRD off-road. The seat is a little upright, but then again, it's a Tacoma. Still got plenty of leg room and I'm like 6'4" with these heels on. Oh shit handle. The sliding rear window. LED, JBL subwoofer, that's pretty big. I wonder if that's a 10-inch. It's probably an 8, but that's pretty good size. Just like the TRD Pro Sequoia I reviewed recently, there's a link up above if you want to check that out. It has that weird holographic pattern in the perforations that you can't see unless you're looking at it from the right angle. As far as the infotainment screen goes, it's literally like a laptop on your dashboard. It's huge. It's stereotypical Toyota menu, very easy to use, not much to it. There's no hidden features anywhere. It's just a head unit with a huge screen. Is that Braille or Morse code? That's weird for the fuse box lid. It's got a huge JBL logo right here on the door speaker. This is kind of neat. Got a red TRD push button start. A little trailer brake controller. I thought this is kind of neat. If you have a load in the bed of the truck, you can manually adjust your headlight level right here with a dial. It's got a wireless charge cubby, 2 USB-Cs, a spot for another phone. I like this little deep pouch they have over here by the oh shit handle in the center console. That's neat. Just in case you forget what kind of vehicle you're in, it's kind of a smart idea. There's a little first aid kit right here in the cabin, stuck Velcro to the carpet. The JBL sound system's not too bad, but what's neat about it is there's a miniature ejectable Bluetooth boombox on the dashboard. I mean, that is slightly excessive, but It's cool though that they have this as a feature you can option for. Overall summary of this premium package TRD off-road is there are more tech features in here than I really know what to do with. This is so loaded for it being a Tacoma, it's not even funny. As far as on-road driving goes, the one thing that stands out the most that I like about this new generation of Tacoma is all the torque down low. And I feel that's something that the last generation was missing with the 3.5 liter. It lost that grunty down low torque that you had with the 1GR 4 liter in the generation before that. So I'm happy that it has this new 2.4 turbo engine. What I do feel is a miss though from ditching the V6 is they also ditched the 2.7 liter 2TR naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. That doesn't make sense because they could have left that on the base entry model and it would have been perfect for fleet use and for tradespeople because they're super easy to work on and maintain and robust and cost effective as well. And it was a loss to see that engine go. They could have just revised it and kept it going. It's still sold in other markets around the world in different vehicles. And it's overall a great engine too. The fuel economy on this one is better. It's definitely an improvement over the V6. But also because it is a forced induction 4-cylinder, it greatly varies depending on how you drive it more so than a naturally aspirated V6. But it's easy to maintain above 20 miles per gallon. With this being a TRD off-road is not bad. Overall, the entire Tacoma range made a shift upscale in the price range. There's more expensive models than there ever has been. And while there still is a base SR and SR5 that are just over $30,000, I would have liked to have seen some new sub-entry models that are even cheaper than the S and SR. That's where we need a shift right now in the vehicle market with how expensive things are just because of the economy and inflation. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think we needed all these super high-end vehicles like the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro, as cool as they probably are. I just didn't really see a need for them because this truck does everything that you'll need it to, and then some. It is now time to give this thing some scores. Starting at the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the new Tacoma TRD Off-Road gets a rating of, followed by the cookie score, the assessment of value, and this premium trim spec of the TRD Off-Road fully loaded at $54,000 gets a rating of, yes, that is a lot of money for a Tacoma. However, they've never really offered options packages this extensive in the past. So if you don't want to spend a lot, just don't load it up full of options like this. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and it's getting a rating of. Next is the Albondiga score, which apparently means meatball. And the Tacoma is getting a rating of, does it really mean Albondiga? Or did you just tell me to say something like refrigerator and I just... No, that means Albondiga. Okay. And lastly is the Penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle. And the new Taco gets a rating of, as someone that's owned a Tacoma and a Hilux in the past, I do like this truck, and I love the fact that it has a turbo 4-cylinder in it now, just like they did back in the 80s with the original 22 RTE. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye!